10 days to go until the transfer window. I hope you can hear me. I'm slightly worried that you can't. Yes, you can. Hello, welcome along to the transfer show. Look, Michael and Carve are alongside me today. Just over 10 days to go until the transfer show shuts, but there is still so much to be resolved.
Live at the news conference, mention a three-letter word. Eze?
Are you going to say mum?
I don't want any players that don't want to come to the club.
Has it got to a point where have you said goodbye to him, players said goodbye to him?
Yes. They don't want to come to the club and wear this fantastic badge, then we don't want them here.
It's a lose-lose situation to a degree for us, because I don't think we can come out of this winning in any situation.
My stance around Yaman all along really has been that I don't want him to leave.
Alex is to play for Newcastle again. He has to be totally committed.
It's clearly that they want to play in the different club, and that is clear.
Our relations has changed.
It's changed.
Yeah, it's not so close.
I would like to be a magician to know what's going to happen, and I don't know.
Some brilliant press conferences today, and we're going to zoom into one of them, starting with Nottingham Forest. It appears Nuno Espirito Santo's future as manager is uncertain after a breakdown in his relationship with the owner, Evangelos Marinakis. Now, Nuno Espirito Santo has given a brutally honest assessment of the situation behind the scenes at the club, saying that his relationship with the owner, Marinakis, has changed and not for the better. Have a listen to this.
I always had a very good relationship with the owner. Last season was very, very, very close, almost daily basis. This season, not so well. But I always believe that dialogue and what you say or your opinion is always valid, because my concern is the squad and the season that we have ahead of us. But our relations has changed.
It's changed.
Yeah, it's not so close. It's not on a daily basis. So, yeah.
Is that a good thing, though? Or?
No, it's not good. It's not what it used to be. What it used to be was a good, respectful relationship, but was more based on trust and sharing opinions. And now it's not so good. In the club, there are different opinions, but I'm someone that says my opinions, sticks there, and then I do my job, and my job, like I said to you, is to prepare the team.
And if you carry on doing that job and he carries on doing his, do you think the relationship will come closer again as the season goes on?
I hope so. I don't know. That I cannot answer.
He cannot answer. As I said, Carve Sorko and Michael Bridge are here tonight. Look, Carve, it's fascinating, isn't it? And we've seen them lock horns a little bit before, haven't we? It's not him saying that this is they can go back on it. I can't even think of the word I'm wanting to say. He's not living on borrowed time. This isn't it for him, is it?
Look, I think managers and head coaches have a very difficult time when they sit in front of the media in the modern age of social media. And a lot of the times they are very guarded in what they say, but sometimes they start being honest. And I think today Nuno was being very, very honest. In fact, when the cameras were turned off, because there's a section of news conferences where the manager just speaks to the daily newspaper reporters, he came up with some more quotes that were supposed to be just for tomorrow's newspapers. But the quotes were so headline-worthy that the newspaper reporters have decided to release them straight away. And in these quotes, Nuno says about his relationship with the owner, he says, look, we know each other very well, as we've all been in the industry for a while now, but where there's smoke, there's fire. But I have to do my job. I understand because I'm worried. I'm the first to be worried, the first to be concerned. So reading into those comments, it appears that he's worried about the future.
Yeah.
And there have been some reports, I think, coming out of Spain today, casting doubt about how long he was going to remain the Nottingham Forest manager. So it does seem a little bit uncertain, and Nuno himself is coming out and being honest about his relationship with the club.
Yeah, that's what he always comes across as, a very honest manager. He wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit, doesn't he? Do you think this is to do with the lack of transfers? What are we putting this down to?
I think they've had a belting couple of weeks transfer-wise. They've just signed Douglas Luiz on loan from Juventus, and he was brilliant for Aston Villa. Arsenal tried to sign him. They've got a midfield three now of Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White, who stayed at the football club, and Douglas Luiz. That's a top six midfield for me. They've signed Amari Hutchinson, James McAtee, Arnold Muendo. That's a lot of money. Now, they had to wait as well to see what European competition they were in. When they got into the Europa League, then they started to spend. I think this is a bit more than this. And, we know what happened publicly last season with Marinakis, and it probably hurt. It was unsavoury. It wasn't nice to see. So I even read this morning about Ange Postecoglou linked there because he's quite close with Marinakis. So, yeah, it's one of those situations where when you're at a press conference, managers can be quite guarded. And when they are so open, it's wow. And a lot of the time in these embargoed sections, some managers, with the cameras stopping, they get a bit more relaxed. But the fact this was on camera as well was pretty unbelievable. And it would be a real shame for Nottingham Forest because he's done a phenomenal job there.
Yeah, he has. And this comes off a fantastic season, you'd have to say. So it seems a bit... The timing's a bit strange as well, isn't it?
I think sometimes you get this tension during the transfer window. That is why a lot of people in football want the transfer window to close before the season starts, because then you wouldn't have these issues. And he's not the only manager who's come out in the past couple of weeks and expressed some concerns about his club's transfer strategy. And in the modern age, owners do not like that, because when you're the head coach or the manager of a football club, you are an employee. You have to be on message. You are representing the club. So you may have your own personal opinions, but the owners and the chief executives don't like it when you express those personal opinions in public. Because if you are a Premier League manager, what you say goes around the world in the blink of an eye. So that is why I think these managers have a really, really difficult job. Because for us journalists, it's fantastic when they're honest and they tell us what they really think. But it often doesn't go down very, very well with their employers.
Yeah, you'd think there might only be one loser here in this situation.
I mean, I don't know. Just because some reports have come out of Spain saying that his job could be under threat doesn't mean his job is under threat. We just have to wait and see what happens in the next few days. And they've got a massive game away at Crystal Palace on Sunday.
Oh, El Clasico.
Yeah, it's going to be tasty, isn't it? OK, let's turn our attentions to the latest on Eberechi Eze now, because he's been having his Arsenal medical today ahead of a £67.5 million move from Crystal Palace. Our man, Gary Cottrell, asked Mikel Arteta about Eze today as well.
Can I, live at the news conference, mention a three-letter word? Eze?
Are you going to say mom?
Eze?
Yeah? Nothing to comment, and I can never talk about any player that is not part of our group, our club yet.
Just generally speaking, when you are looking to recruit a player, as well as their qualities on the pitch, how important is it that you get the sense that they want to be at Arsenal? Just generally speaking.
But that's the number one, that they want to be with us, that they feel something special to come to us, then the person, and that what personality we're going to bring, and then the rest comes. And I think we've done that very, very well in the last few years to create the group of players and the spirit in the team.
And if that unnamed player grew up supporting Arsenal, so much the better.
The better the feeling, the stronger the feeling, I think the better always, because it brings a different edge, a different will and emotion to what you do, and I think that always brings something extra. I think we are showing the ambition that we want to do, that we are here to win major trophies, to keep evolving and improving every single year, and that's going to come with demands, and those demands are clear. It's our competitors, what we're doing, where the league is going, and we're going to be in front, not just chasing or acting or behind. We just want to be in front of it, and every decision that we make in every area of the club is to try to achieve that.
All right, so Arteta pretty tight-lipped, but what is the latest, Carvey?
Latest is he's going to become an Arsenal player. It's all agreed, club to club, between Palace and Arsenal, also between the player and Arsenal. He's just having his medical. And you would think, I'm not a doctor, but you'd think that would be a formality because he's match fit, he's been playing regularly for Crystal Palace very recently. Once the medical's out of the way, I assume he'll be doing some club media because Arsenal will want to make a sort of big song and dance, why wouldn't you, about his signing. So perhaps they're filming that, the club channels are filming interviews with him, and then he will be unveiled as a Arsenal player. The only thing that's surprising to me is that Gary Cottrell isn't in the room where Eze having his medical, because for the past few days, Eberechi Eze must be sick of the sight of Gary Cottrell, because he's been doing a fantastic man-marking job on him. And I suppose once he signs for Arsenal, he'll probably breathe a huge sigh of relief, because not only will he be an Arsenal player, but probably he can get a bit of a rest from Gary for a few days.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be happy about that. Michael, what's Crystal Palace's side of this? Oliver Glasner was pretty downbeat about it, wasn't he, really?
Oh, do you know what? Crystal Palace, they won the FA Cup a few months ago, one of the greatest days of all their supporters' lives. Community Shield in the bag. They should all be so happy right now. But they're not, because Oliver Glasner has been so open. I was reading the quotes last night. Wow, I couldn't believe how downbeat he was on the situation. He knew that they would be losing a couple of big names this summer, but he wants big names in now. They know they're in the UEFA Conference League now. They could actually go and win that competition if they bring players in. They need to bring players in. They don't have Dougie Freeman anymore. They've recruited ever so well in the past. They got Eze from the EFL. They got Michael Olise from the EFL. But Glasner wants players in, and this is what he said to us a little earlier.
As long as I'm here, as a manager, I don't accept having a bad mood when we have such a maybe the best period in Crystal Palace history. So it's not acceptable to mourn about it, and that's why I always start with myself. That's why I said I don't want to talk about it anymore. You know, everything is clear, everything is communicated, and that's it. So I won't talk about any transfers until the window closes, or we confirm somebody leaving or somebody arriving, because I don't want to have this mood. Yeah, and of course, yeah, it affects you, but I don't accept this for myself, because this is a time to enjoy. This is a time players are doing so well. Players are really so committed to the way we are playing, to this group, and this is time to enjoy. You know, my responsibility is to take care of Crystal Palace. I'm employee of Crystal Palace. I'm responsible for the team, for the football performance, and for this. You know, of course, I'm worried about Crystal Palace if we are losing players and don't get the right ones in. And it's nothing to do with Oliver Glasner. It's just, I think this is my duty as manager, yeah, to tell the owners what we have to do.
It's me, nothing to do with Oliver Glasner. He's quite frank, isn't he? What do you make of those comments?
Look, Oliver Glasner is a fantastic manager. He's a fantastic communicator. I sense that he's getting a little bit frustrated with what is happening at Crystal Palace, and I think their summer has been ruined by UEFA. UEFA's decision, hugely controversial, to demote them from the Europa League to the Conference League, has really affected their summer and their summer planning. I think in normal circumstances, they would have won the FA Cup. They would have known that Eze and Mark Gahey were probably going to leave, but they would have known that they were going to be in the Europa League. They would have planned for that. They would have brought replacement in. It would have been much calmer. But the problem is they had to deal with this UEFA issue. They were fighting UEFA for weeks and weeks and weeks. They lost that battle. Then they had to fight them again at the Court of Arbitration for Sport as well. So that took weeks and weeks and weeks. So their eye was off the transfer ball because they didn't know which European competition they were going to be playing in. So I can see it from Oliver Glasner's point of view. I can also see it from the owner's point of view. They first had to deal with UEFA before dealing with transfers. And that's why at the moment it looks like they've been too slow in the transfer market. And I think that's why Oliver Glasner is a little bit frustrated.
What about the situation then with Mark Gahey? Where are we with that one then?
I think when you listen to Oliver Glasner, he's pretty clear. He feels that Mark Gahey has to stay. He wants him to stay for the season. He wants him to stay for the return leg of their playoff in Norway next week as well. But then when you listen to Steve Parish seems to be saying, look, we're going to have to sell him unless he signs a new contract. I just wonder what Liverpool are going to do in the next few days, or maybe perhaps after their game against Newcastle on Monday, because at the moment there's still a big gap in valuation between Palace and Liverpool. But if Liverpool come back with an increased offer, then Steve Parish and the other Palace owners would have a big decision to make. But I think even if Gahey was to leave, they would bring in a replacement. It's just that Oliver Glasner feels it should have been done weeks and weeks ago.
Yeah, which you can understand. So look, that's the Arsenal and Palace angle then. But what about Thomas Frank? How's he feeling then, having Eze snatched from under him?
My producer won't be happy with me. I'll just say for something very quickly on Gahey. A year ago, we were talking about 70 million for Mark Gahey with Newcastle United. So to think of him going for nothing is unthinkable for Steve Parish. Anyway, right, let's get to Tottenham. Yeah, look, it's done. Moved on. Spurs aren't going to get Eberechi. They are going to move on now. Obviously, it was very public and Spurs fans are very disappointed with it, but they need to move on and they need players, don't they, Thomas Frank?
There has been a lot of links. There'll be a lot of links in the future. And so just to generalize that, to make it very, very clear, I don't want any players that don't want to come to the club. They don't want to come to the club and wear this fantastic badge, then we don't want them here. I think that's very clear. And also pretty sure that the fans will feel the same.
Yeah.
Really, I like that. He spoke really well there on that, because it is a disappointment, but they will move on. They need to bring players in as well. There was something quite extraordinary before Eze decided to join Arsenal, was talk of potentially Spurs offering Richarlison to Crystal Palace.
Crazy after what he did at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, but look, he's started the season ever so well, and Thomas Frank says, right now he's my starting 9. Richie wants to stay, I want to keep him. There's been no talks about anything else.
OK, brilliant stuff. Sorry, we're punchy tonight because we're running out of time all the time. Now, the Alexander Isak saga is showing no sign of resolution with 10 days left in the transfer window. We'll discuss him and Johan Wissa next. It's huge breaking news. Abire Eze has arrived at Arsenal's London Colney training ground. He's been having that medical. What happens now, Michael?
Well, he'll be doing club in-house media.
Okay.
I'm sure the Arsenal media team will really look forward to doing that. I'm sure it'll be interesting given the last few days.
But you seem to be struggling a little bit.
No, not at all. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. No, I'm absolutely fine.
Sure?
I'm absolutely fine.
I can do this if you want.
No, it's fine. You've asked the question. I will answer. They'll be doing in-house media now. And there'll be the photo, Mikel Arteta with his arm around him. There'll be the sporting director, Andrea Berta, on the other side, all smiles.
Yeah.
Signing the contract.
Signing the contract. It was only Arsenal. It was only ever going to be Arsenal. North London, red. Yeah, that.
Not bitter at all, says Michael Bridge. The Spurs fan. Right, the Alexander Isak saga shows no sign of resolution with 10 days left in the transfer window. Eddie Howe has described the situation as lose-lose, but he does think that the broken relationship can be repaired.
I think it's a lose-lose situation to a degree for us, because I don't think we can come out of this winning in any situation. And that's why I've said all summer it's a difficult situation for the club to manage. We love Alex in the sense of what he's done for the football club since he's been here, what he's contributed, what he's given, how professional he's been. And this has just been an unfortunate few months that it looks like it's coming to an end. Well, it will come to an end pretty quickly. He's contracted to us. He's our player. My wish is that he would be playing on Monday night with us, but he won't be, and that's regrettable at this moment. But he, 100%, I want to see him back in a Newcastle shirt.
How is your relationship with him despite all this that's going on?
Yeah, I haven't seen him this week, I don't think. I saw him last week. Yeah, when I see him, we speak as normal. There's no issues there between us. Of course, it's a difficult situation from both sides, and I can see it's far from ideal for both parties.
Can his relationship with the supporters be repaired?
Yes, I believe they can. I believe the supporters will always react off how a player plays and what he gives the team. Now, this has been an unfortunate situation, but there is always two sides to every story. There is.
Yeah, it's interesting, Eddie Howe says there's always two sides to every story. He comes across, Eddie Howe, as a very, very likeable character. I've sat down and chatted with him, and he is just that. How well do you think he's handled this situation, or could he have done it better?
I don't think he could have done it better at all.
Okay.
I think he's done a fantastic job. I think this is a sort of textbook example of how to handle the media when there is a big story at your club, a sort of big negative story about your club.
Yeah.
And I think he's been really, really careful all along with what he said, but he's been as honest as he possibly can in public. And he's always sort of held out the olive branch to Alexander Isak as well, because obviously a lot of Newcastle fans are absolutely furious with the way Isak has behaved. But I think Eddie Howe has been clever, because he said there are two sides to every story, because he wants to make sure that if Alexander Isak does stay at Newcastle, he can reintegrate him back into the side. It's
going to be an explosive game on Monday night, isn't it? How do you see this resolving? Do you think something might happen after that?
The way I've seen it is, as soon as Liverpool signed Ekitike, I think it strengthened him, Isak staying at Newcastle.
Right,
That's how I've seen it. I agree with Carve 100%. I think Eddie Howe's handled it brilliantly. It's going to be hard to reintegrate himself into that squad and that support.
Yeah, OK. Look, let's just finally talk about Isak and Vesta, because he remains a target, of course, for Newcastle, doesn't he? What's the latest on him?
Look, this is good news for Brentford. He is back training with the team. Keith Andrews is back training with the team. I'll make a decision on the squad tomorrow, but he's part of the group this week. He's a Brentford player right now. His stance all along is I don't want him to leave. That hasn't changed. So potentially good news for Brentford and Keith Andrews.
Yeah, so potentially still very much in the Brentford fold at the moment.
At the moment.
OK. All right, you two are in the transfer show fold at 7 o'clock, aren't you? So an hour long with you two. Plenty more coming your way, because it is an extremely busy day here on Sky Sports News. We'll have plenty more from all the managers, lots of them being very frank today, none more so than Nuno Espirito Santo. We will also be live there as well to get that angle as well. He's talking about his relationship with the owner, Evangelos Marinakis. Is it broken? Is it repairable? More next.